Hi, I'm Amanda from iambaker, and today we're going to be making a coconut cake. I love this cake all year long, and we often make it all year long, and you can jazz it up with different frostings and flavors in addition to the coconut flavor, but today we're just gonna go all coconut all day, baby. So we're gonna start out with my favorite ingredient probably in this recipe, and that is coconut oil. Now, if you have ever used coconut oil in your baking, you know that it really does not retain a ton of that coconut flavor. But I love adding it to this recipe because I love cooking with coconut oil. It's just a healthier option, and I hope that it'll retain some of that flavor in our cake. To that coconut oil, I am going to add our sugar. This is just granulated sugar. To that, I'm gonna kick it up a notch and add straight up coconut extract. Because when I eat a coconut cake, I want to taste coconut. I want to know, I don't want a glorified white cake. So I am going to add this coconut milk and extract, and we did a full tablespoon, right to my coconut oil and sugar mixture and let them incorporate. And I have my mixer on low because I don't want to be wearing this right now. And then once it gets fully incorporated, then we can jack up the speed to whatever. You can go super high if you want. It is really important that you use cake flour in this recipe, but I am gonna add some baking powder to it, and I just wanna whisk that together before I incorporate it with my wet ingredients. And then we will slowly add this to our wet ingredients. As soon as these ingredients just come together, I'm gonna turn my mixer off because of our next step in this, and that is egg whites. So I have my 5 eggs, and I'm just gonna separate them. For the most part, I use extra large eggs in recipes. You can use large, but I wouldn't go any smaller than a large egg. You want a lot of that white. So I'm gonna put my egg whites into a big bowl and get out my hand mixer. And I'm going to beat these into soft peaks, medium peaks. Our eggs are looking beautiful. They should have about quadrupled in size. If you start with about a cup of egg whites, you should have at least 4 cups in volume of the fluffy egg whites. And now we want to add it to our batter. I like to take it kind of slow. I like to really make sure that I'm treating this batter with tender, loving care. I'm going to fold it into our cake batter, which can take a while, but it's worth it. When I fold, I typically find the center of my batter and I just run my spoon through the center. Every now and then I'll go around the outside and then I'll start it over. If you're able to turn your bowl, that's even better. I also use this spoon from Stobe, and it's completely round. And so when I'm turning, I turn it in my hand as well. So I put it through the batter and then flip it in my hand, and it just makes the process faster, smoother. Okay, this cake batter is looking beautiful, smelling beautiful. I have 3 8-inch round cake pans, and this is about 5.5 cups of batter. So you just want to try and equally divide that between your 3 pans, and then just spread it around slightly. Try and get it as level as you can. And I'm going to pop these into a 350-degree oven for anywhere from 18 to 25 minutes. Just depends on your oven. And then I'm gonna let them cool in the pans for about 10 minutes, and then we're gonna decorate. My cake layers are nice and cooled. I popped them into the freezer for about an hour just to make sure they were firm enough for me to handle and frost. And I have made some coconut Swiss meringue buttercream, which I'm going to be using as the frosting on this cake. I just want to do a really thin layer between my layers of cake. We don't want this cake to be too high because it can get high. I usually add like a cup of buttercream between each layer. That's a lot of frosting. We'll just get each layer covered. Here comes our final layer. I'm just gonna flip it over so it's nice and flat on top. Cover the entire cake with a layer of this beautiful coconut buttercream. You'll have to go check out that video. This is one of my favorite frostings. It's just so smooth, so silky and luxurious. And I'm just gonna pipe on a little embellishment. So what I decided to do was make a strong in flavor cake with a subtle frosting and then a little bit of coconut flakes. And I'm just going to use them kind of like a garnish around the top of our cake so that people know visually what they're eating right away. But if they don't like that texture, they can just skip that part. And that's it. This is our beautiful coconut cake from scratch with a wonderful coconut buttercream. If you want the entire recipe, head on over to iambaker.net.